let me do racist president for dummies here. The FBI director, the intelligence community, and the Department of Homeland Security gathered enough information to testify before Congress that the greatest threat to the homeland was from white supremacists. And it sounds like people who reported directly to Donald Trump, Ken Cuccinelli and others, either resisted or knew they would meet resistance at the White House when they brought these warnings to the president. I want you to tell me if this is what you witnessed, if this is what you heard about firsthand, and if you can explain how far up it went. Did they make it to John Bolton? Did they make them to John Kelly? Did they make it into the Oval Office? Or were these warnings killed at the agency level?
Well, I can't speak specifically to this assessment that came out, other than to say that when I was in the administration, our concerns went all the way to the president of the United States, right? The person who did not want us out there talking about domestic terrorism was Donald Trump himself. And you got to wonder why. And I think the conclusions are very obvious. It's because the president thought that these people who were intending to commit violence against their fellow Americans, in his mind, were potential supporters. And that's why Donald Trump, after Charlottesville, turned the other way and said both sides had good people. That's why we saw him do it after the massacre in El Paso. That's why we saw him ignore these warnings in the lead up to the riot at the Capitol. But I actually think the headline here, Nicole, about this DHS bulletin is not that it should have come out a few weeks ago before the insurrection or a few months ago when the whistleblower complaint came out. It should have come out 2 years ago when me and the Secretary of Homeland Security ordered that a report be developed on the severity of the domestic terrorism threat in the United States 2 years ago. Why did DHS leadership, after we left, sit on that report, sit on that assessment? Why weren't they talking about how severe this threat was? We knew it then. We were very concerned about it then. And we said we need to alert state and local law enforcement and the American public about how bad this is getting. I want to put this into context. This is one of the most serious terror threats we've seen in 20 years. Since 9/11. It's happening on our own soil. These are individuals who were radicalized by our own president, are engaging in recruitment, are engaging in target selection, are doing training and pre-operational planning and networking across state boundaries, in some cases international boundaries. This is not unlike what we saw with the rise of ISIS and that kind of networking and coordination that led to organic terrorist plots coming up around the world, and terror, domestic terror in this case, going viral around our country. That is the worry today of counterterrorism officials in the United States, and those ignored warnings during the Trump administration have led us into danger today.
Let's leave the Trump years aside for a moment, because thank God there's new management. But let me ask you about consequences. I mean, in just the terrorism analysis is the right one. And I was in the White House on 9/11 the years after. And actually, the Obama administration took the step of taking out an American citizen for incitement. The incitement, we played it on your television. The incitement came from Donald Trump. And today, while he's off the scene, old news, there are hundreds of Republicans in the House and 45 in the Senate who have no interest in even seeing incitement. How do you, Miles Taylor, deal with the terrorism threat if you don't get to the root of it or get to the incitement?
I think, Nicole, you've honed in on the critical piece, and I'm sure Clint can speak to this too, because he's been looking at counterterrorism threats just as long as me and longer. This is one of the biggest concerns we have, is the far end of the process of radicalization always starts with extremist ideas that then jump the tracks into violence. If I could give one message to my fellow Republicans in Congress today, what I would say to them is you need to check your rhetoric, because you are actually helping fuel violent movements across the United States. Your own words are wittingly or unwittingly being used by potential domestic terrorists in this country. That's an extraordinary statement to make, and I don't make it lightly, but that's what's happening right now. And when those individuals embrace the former president's rhetoric, Donald Trump, when they embrace the extremist rhetoric that the democratic process is broken and the election is stolen, they put people in this mindset that their only recourse is violence and no longer through the political process. That is extraordinarily dangerous. We've never seen anything like it in the modern age, and that message needs to be sent to Republicans on Capitol Hill, and they need to be held accountable by their own caucus.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.